A very good evening. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamnna Inamdar. Now it has been exactly 1 week since the 21-day lockdown was put in place. It was announced last Tuesday, effective 12 midnight. So we have had now 1 week to see the effects. It's also a day when India has recorded its largest number of cases of those found positive in COVID in 91 in the last 24 hours. That's 384 cases in the last 24 hours. So the question is, what really has happened in 1 week? Let's do a quick status check. Have we reached the worst of this disease? Have we come any closer to flattening the curve? What about the supply chain disruptions? Have we seen any kind of relief on that end? No economic package, remember, has come through so far for industry per se. There are lots of moves by the RBI, but we're still awaiting on an economic package. So we will be taking you through a complete check of where we stand 1 week later. Remember, 2 weeks more to go before the lockdown ends, and then we'll have to wait and see what happens next. So all of that coming up ahead on the show. But before that, a question which has emerged in everyone's minds today, a realization really, which is that there are no free lunches. The deferment of EMIs by 3 months will mean you pay interest for those 3 months. Now, if you're a regular viewer of this show and had watched the India Development Debate last evening, you would have known this to be the case. But really, does it make sense for you to take up the deferment of EMI? That is the EMI moratorium that RBI has allowed, and now most banks and financial institutions are extending. What does it all mean? To speak on this, I'm first joined by Mr. Keki Mistry, who's Vice Chairman and CEO of HDFC Limited, the largest housing finance company really in the country. Mr. Mistry, welcome and thank you so much for speaking with us on the show this evening. Let me begin by asking you, what are the modalities that HDFC Limited is rolling out for the EMI moratorium? How are you extending this to your customers and borrowers?
Well, the plan is that customers will be given a choice. Either they can opt for the moratorium or they do not opt for the moratorium. When you opt for a moratorium, you must understand that it's only a moratorium on the cash flow. The interest liability continues to accrue. So there is no decided advantage in anyone deferring his or her payment if you have the cash to make the payment. So and I'll come to what we are, your payments as you are doing now, because by deferring it, you are adding on an interest liability to yourself. Now, what we will be doing is we've got all the board approvals that was required as per the RBI policy. To all our customers who call, we've told them that we will send you an email/SMS, which will be going out later today, or some of it may have started going out already. And customers will be given a choice of either availing of the deferment or not. And if you avail of the deferment, you have the choice of either having a higher term or just capitalizing the interest and paying a slightly higher amount over the existing life of the loan. So we give that choice also to customers.
So is there any kind of conditionality attached to this as far as HDFC Limited is concerned? Is there any criteria to who you will extend this benefit and who you won't?
We are not doing that. Whichever customer wants the facility can avail of it. But as I told you earlier on also, it is not, if I was a customer, for example, speaking for myself, and if I had the liquidity, I would not avail of it. Because there is an interest liability which gets added on at the time when you have to make the payment. So it's not that the money is interest-free. There is an interest during that period. You are either extending the term of the loan or you are paying a higher amount and amortizing the loan in the same term.
You seem to be discouraging it, Mr. Mistry, and not just you. Actually, all banks and financial institutions are at great pains to say that you will be paying an interest on this and don't take it if you don't need it. Do you think there is a reluctance to roll this out because the RBI has given this nudge and this advisory, and everyone is? Do you feel that reluctance?
No, there is no reluctance whatsoever. It makes no difference to us. It makes absolutely no difference to us. In fact, ironically, if someone opts for it, our interest income will go higher because on the loan amount will go higher, and therefore on a higher loan amount, the income will go higher. But in the interest of a customer, in my view, as I said, personally speaking, I don't think it's a great idea because if you have the liquidity, obviously if you do not have the liquidity or your company is not paying your full salary or something like that, then in that case, of course, it's fully warranted. You should take advantage of this deferment. But there is no reluctance on our part. It makes no difference to us.
You know, do you have an assessment internally, a ballpark figure of how many of your borrowers may opt for it? And will this become a painful process for the bank's balance sheet or for the financial institution's balance sheet if a large number of customers opt for this?
I just mentioned to you that we are neutral. Whether one borrower avails of it or 2 million borrowers avail of it, we are indifferent to it because, as I said, it's only a deferment of cash flow as far as we are concerned. We continue to earn income during that period. To answer your question, it's a guess. I don't know how many people are going to avail or not avail, so it's a wild guess. I wouldn't rather guess. But just based on public information and based on the media calls, some media messages and the RBI circular, we have got roughly about 29,000 customers who written to us and asked for a deferment out of a total book of about 2.5 million. So out of 25 lakh customers, about 29,000 have written to us so far. So it's about 1%.
Is there any financial implication or impact you see as a result of this 3-month moratorium?
No, the only financial impact for any institution would be liquidity. We as HDFC have historically kept or maintained a very high level of liquidity. We are carrying a liquidity in excess of 20,000 crores in our balance sheet. I think it's 24,000 crores. So to that extent, there is no impact.
All right. So as people decide whether to take this or not, and in uncertain times, any message you have for your borrowers, for your customers?
Only thing is, when you avail of it, you must understand that it is not a deferment of interest. It is only a deferment of the cash flow. And therefore, the interest will continue to accrue on the account. So if you have the liquidity, my sincere advice to people is please do not avail of the deferment. If you do not have the liquidity, if your cash flows have been affected because your company is not paying your full salary, then of course please do so.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Keki Mistry there. Speaking on whether customers should take this or not, and most banks are really discouraging customers from taking this. We've discussed in detail earlier whether you should take it or not, so you have to make up your own mind depending on your own situation.